on to really my second sketchbook for school that I actually really liked. It was for drawing one. For drawing one, we kept a very detailed, in-depth sketchbook, but then for drawing two, we didn't. Drawing one was more of like learning the facts, art, and the basicness, and kind of taking away your own style and just learning what you need to. Drawing two was more of gaining your own style using color, more of like an expressive, like find your art kind of class. The 200-page sketchbook that I've only managed to fill this much. The rest is completely void of nothing. This was just some practice. We had to do an object study thing. She wanted us to draw a bunch of expressive, quick drawings of an animal, so I picked a cat, did some images from Google Images. Here she wanted us to do a quick gestural piece of a scene from a movie. I picked the lunchroom scene. I think it's from the first Spider-Man movie, the one with Tobey Maguire. I googled interesting Spider-Man backgrounds, and this was a scene that I guess popped up. Another handout for gestural studies, another handout for sighting and seeing clearly. I didn't really use my measuring stick very much. I used my thumb instead, but she didn't like us using our thumbs, but it worked just as well. For some library research, she wanted us to find a bunch of artists and draw some more favorite pieces by them. Another piece by David, this one by Raymond Pittenbun. I don't know how to pronounce the name. We had to look at the focal point, directory lines, and eye movement of a piece and do like a master breakdown, so I had to write about it. All the fun stuff, not really. Here we were doing thumbnail sketches for another still life. I did a lot of still lifes in both drawing one and drawing two. More so in drawing one. I still want to attempt to do a still life of some of the objects in my room. I think it'd be cool. Doing ellipses practice, 7 ways to sight objects, more homework, vanishing points and things at angles, some more still life practices. This was my final thumbnail that I went with. Here we're doing more perspective and to like really using boxes, because that's how I draw the Transformers sometimes. I just do this little bitty sketch of Optimus as a box and how he would be looking a certain way, and that really helps me now. I use boxes and circles a lot when helping me to draw robots. So movement and how things are placed with this piece of a paper flag with black and white lines. She wanted us to try to tape it to another object, so I taped it to my desk chair. This is my midterm portfolio. I actually did pretty okay. Contouring on my hand, dark lines, kind of like shading but using contour lines instead. This was another project. We had to do an ink wash. This is when I really learned how to use India ink and do ink washes. I really found myself loving that and loving pen. That's really come to play into my art now, as I love using pen. She wanted us to draw a pumpkin, a gourd, and an egg, and then the flag was a picture of my piece for that, all pen. That was all pen. That entire background, I had to do many contour lines. A lot of emptying pens. We did a lot of pen sketches in drawing one, and she wanted us to try to empty the pen every time. My pumpkin, I really love the shading and the contour lines I did on the pumpkin, but I really like this piece a lot. I think this was our final piece, and it was empty the pen challenge. So she wanted us to, I believe, try to empty at least one full pen and then half of another pen. This was my piece that I did. It was another still life. I learned how to draw a skull for the first time. That was like a wire, not a wire, but like a wicker basket. The paper size, does it say what the size of paper is? Yes, it was a 22 by 30-inch Stonehenge. That's a big sheet of paper. My final piece for that. This was actually one of the first art pieces that was ever hung up in the art building. I was very happy about it. There was another project we had to do. This was the linear perspective. We went to the commons area, so kind of like the student center. She wanted us to draw the same area but in 2 separate times during the day. I drew one during the day, and then I changed where I was sitting and did it a different day. This was the area I was sitting at during the day. Here was it during the nighttime. This was another project we had to do. This was the tonal still life. Yeah, she wanted us to use charcoal for this. This was really my first kind of test at using charcoal. Again, 20 by 32 Stonehenge, big paper. So this was my still life I did. She kind of got annoyed with me because we wanted it to be like this, crisp and clear. However, this is when I really started to notice that my style was more painterly. I liked a more softer tone to my art, and my teacher just was like, no, I want it to be crisp, cut the line, and my teacher kept telling me,
push the lines harder, make it look more realistic.
I didn't care, so I spent a lot of time on this trying to make it realistic. I like this bench. I like the way these gourds turned out. Yeah, I still got a good grade on it, so like it's fine here with stuff. For drawing two from September 2018 to December 2018. We didn't keep a sketchbook during drawing two. I just kind of made my own sketchbook where I just took handouts and taped them in here. Little mini assignments we had to do and just pasted them in here. Kind of all over the place. Third project, we had to do a black plastic bag. So you had to draw a black plastic bag in charcoal. But instead of adding in the charcoal, you had to take away. You had to take the entire paper and rub in charcoal so it was completely pitch black, and then we had to go in with an eraser and take away so we could add in the lights, and then we had to add more charcoal for the darks. You can't really see much in the photo, but this is how it started out. Here was more testing it, you know, getting it better, and then this was my first time ever drawing a plastic bag. I think it looks okay. This was the handout for it. We're practicing tonal values. Do you either want us to do a tonal practice with a pepper or an apple? This was my pepper that I did. I actually really like this. I spent a lot of time on this, studying every single line and be like, okay, this line goes here. Oh yeah, this project. Okay, this project is one of my favorite projects. There's a theater in my town. It's called the Maple Tainter. It's on a lot of people's a bucket list, but it's also rumored to be haunted. I love this place. A beautiful building. We were given the assignment or the opportunity to go into this building and draw it. So our assignment was to pick an area in the building, snap a couple pictures, see what kind of composition or area you want to draw, and then you had to do practice drawings. I wanted to get as much detail in the picture as possible. This was my first picture that I took. My attempt at trying to draw it. I wasn't really loving it, but I love the texture of the curtains that I did. The close-up of some detail that I drew. Then I snapped this picture and I was like, I want to do this composition. I want to draw the curtains, want to have some detail in it. Here's a picture of what the actual finished piece looks like. This is my actual finished piece. You can see all of the detail in it and the detail in the curtain. This piece, I kid you not, this is only a photograph. This piece took me 40+ hours to do. I remember 2 or 3 weeks before it was due. We were doing mid-program review. 2 or 3 weeks before this piece was due. No one else in the class started it. She overheard the students talking about that, and then she saw that I had started my piece. She patted me on the back being like, thank you. Before I could even say anything else, she took what I had so far, brought it back into the classroom, and kind of gave everyone a stern talking to.
You cannot do this the night before or a few days before. You need to get started on this now.
And I remember being so embarrassed and flustered, well, don't use me as a prime example as someone that's being a good student, because I've never been that type of student. I don't go above and beyond. That's not what I do. Another one of our projects we had to do, this was our final exam, had to take a bunch of objects and things that we liked and do a random piece. Took things that we love. So this is we do kind of a collage. I love rocks, I love flowers, I love peacock feathers. This is my first attempt to do a really interesting background. However, after putting the collage together, I realized the background was a little too busy. And so this was my final little thumbnail. A picture of my final composition. Coral isn't my greatest, but I love the crystals, I love the neon glow, and I love the slinky. I think this was done with oil pastel, but yeah. This was one of our last projects before our final to do another still life with oil pastel. I love drawing glassware, ornaments and stuff with oil pastel. It's just really cool, adding in some oranges and stuff. I love this blue fabric and then the pink little bucket. The pig was driving me crazy, the wooden pig to draw. I hated it. And that's the last of it. Thank you guys for watching these sketchbook tours. I will see you in another video very soon. Bye guys.